listeners, to another episode of Arts and Crimes. We're to part 2 of the Terracotta Warriors. This time, we're talking about the search for immortality. And the actual warriors. I'm your host, Kelly.
I'm Brandon.
And I'm your temporary guest co-host, Josh.
We're really excited to get started. I also did put some caffeine in my drink, so it's definitely hit now.
Excellent.
So we should get going. This is another, kind of longish one, so I apologize. I'll try and get through it as quick as I can.
Don't apologize. People love it. They love the content. That's what they're here for.
That's what they're here for. Also, we were posting these a little bit ahead. I mean, we're a little bit ahead of what we're posting, so unfortunately nobody can tell me right now that I'm doing a terrible job at pronouncing everything until after it's too late. So again, just I apologize. But do we want to do a week check or should we just get into it?
We should do a mini week check. Did you have something in mind already, Brandon? Because I had something in mind.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Let's do it. Let's do a mini.
Oh.
Ooh, I like that.
Instead of a week check, it's a trivia thing.
Okay, let's hear it.
All right. What piece of technology have you adopted? I know the scooter doesn't count. that you feel has genuinely improved your life?
Why doesn't the scooter count?
Just because you talked about it. Because I knew that would be the answer. And I was like, you got to give us something else. I will start while you guys were thinking about this.
Okay.
And this, because what got me thinking about this was our robot vacuum. We have a robot vacuum on the top floor and the bottom floor. And I'm like, and the one on our main floor is a mop too. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, gosh, this is so nice. So I clean, put the chairs up and then hit go. And then the whole floor is lovingly mopped by our little robot. Or not lovingly. I don't know if it loves it, but
it is.
Yeah.
That's his life's fulfillment.
So I was like, we've had robot vacuums for 7 years or something. And they're so handy. But not a lot of people have them. We were talking to some people that are like, oh yeah, we want a thing. And I was like, why wouldn't you? They're so cheap now. Anyway, so that was one. The other one was the bidet, which I'm not going to go in depth on, but
it goes in depth.
Just go talk to our dad.
Yeah, that's true. He'll go in depth.
He'll regale you with how amazing bidets are.
Yeah. So I've used the bidet for a while. I was introduced by Michaela's father-in-law, stepfather. My father-in-law, stepfather-in-law, whatever. Anyway, a relative of Michaela who introduced us to the idea, and I tried it, and I was like, okay, I actually like this. And then he got us a really nice, a $400 or $600 one that was heated and everything.
Woof.
And it was for toilets that didn't fit ours. It was for elongated toilets. We have round ones. This is way too much in depth. But I was like, we can't use it. And Dad came to visit, and I was like, you guys want this one? And he's like, sure, we'll try it. And then the next time we visited, they bought another one. So all their toilets had them now.
Yeah.
And they were like, it's the greatest thing. And it was really funny.
Yeah, so. I went to their house, and he's like, you got to try out the toilets. I was like, I will. Give me time.
If you've never tried a bidet, I'm recommending
Now's your
it.
Call to action.
Yes. All right, you guys.
Okay, so my first thought, and I don't know if it's improved, if it's something where I'm like, oh, my life has been changed, but it kind of has. I got a KitchenAid for Christmas, and it has a shave ice attachment.
Ooh.
And when I tell you that shave ice is my new little sweet treat, it's my reward for everything. I'm like, oh, it's, you did a good job today. You're still here. Let's get a little sweet treat. And I give myself a shave ice constantly. And it's delicious, and it brings me a great amount of joy.
Oh, nice. You can do the scooter, Brandon.
No.
It's okay.
I mean, the scooter would be a good one because I'm sitting here trying to listen to your guys' stories, and be a good listener. And also have this question being answered at the same time in my head. And a lot of the technology that I think this is definitely okay, what about that? What about that? And everything comes with pros and cons.
Yeah.
There's no con to shave ice.
My phone, has definitely improved a lot of aspects of my life, but there's things I hate about having a phone. Mm-hmm. Having to take calls.
I was gonna say that people can reach you on it.
Yeah. But I think so. As I ran through this list of stuff that I could think of, the piece of technology that has improved my life and not negatively impacted at the same time is my bread maker.
Really?
Ooh.
Yeah.
I do love your fresh made bread. It's so good.
What kind of bread maker did you get? I
Didn't
wanted
it
to get
feature
one forever.
in an episode before where you...
I
Yeah,
brought bread.
you brought bread in.
Yeah.
And we ate it. It was
need
our
to-
ASMR episode.
Yeah, you need to do that again.
I should.
You just use little like keep going.
So, answering Josh's question, I just bought an Amazon Basics 2-pound loaf bread maker.
And it works fine.
It works fine.
I always look and I'm like, I'm going to get this Japanese one that does everything. And it's like $500.
Yeah, no. Mine was $60.
$500.
$500.
Yours was $60. Okay, I feel like the economics of that is probably amazing. Like the payback period is probably like 2 months for a $60 bread maker.
Yeah, I mean, they all are relatively the same component-wise and what they do. They just have, it's funny because they have this little flipper paddle at the bottom and it's just like smack, 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 smack.
When he turns it on, he goes, smack that.
But yeah, they're really super convenient, I think. Because I didn't make bread for years and years and years, and it's because like Mom sent me her like kneading machine, the bread kneader, whatever. The Bread Kneader 5000, and it's an excellent machine, well built. The thing is going to outlast me.
Yeah.
But there's a handful of things you have to clean, and like it's a chore. It definitely, making bread is a chore.
Yeah.
And it's really not with the bread machine. I just plop it on the counter when I want to make a loaf of bread. You put the ingredients in, you hit a button, and 3 hours later, it's time to eat fresh, delicious bread.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's great.
I like it.
Itadakimasu.
Okay.
That's the wrong Asian country.
You've watched enough anime to know that, though. That's pretty good.
I know all of my Japanese is from anime, so I can say things like "Nani?"
And baka.
Yeah, baka.
That was pretty good.
Did I ever teach you the song I learned when I went to Japan as a kid? The Itadakimasu one?
Oh yes, I remember you singing it for me. I did
Do you
not.
remember it?
I don't remember it.
Okay, ready? It even comes with hand movements, which the listeners aren't going to hear. I might cut this whole thing because it's embarrassing, but you go, oha, 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 itadakimasu, oha de mayo, choo choo, which is good morning. I eat mayonnaise with breakfast. It's like
I eat mayonnaise with breakfast?
Yeah, like it's basically kind of, I mean, it's like oha is like a shortened version of Ohio, like which is how you say good morning.
The state.
Yeah. Incorrect, but close. And then itadakimasu is what you say when you're about to eat. And de mayo, I think, is the mayo. And I think, whatever. Anyways, they told me that it means I eat mayo with breakfast.
I think they lied to you.
I don't eat mayo with breakfast.
Well, they had hot dogs filled with mayonnaise, so maybe
They
they do.
always translate itadakimasu as like bon appetit, right?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Yeah, it was the most shocking of the food. The food there was absolutely delicious. But I remember the first like lunch that I sat down with, it was because I was in a school, so it was just like a cafeteria style lunch. And we sat down and it looked like hot dogs, like little smaller hot dogs, like in a bun and everything. There's like 2 or 3 of them. And I was like, nice. That's so American. Like, I'm going to enjoy this. And I took a bite and it was cold and filled with mayonnaise. And I set it back down and I was like, and it was, I could not eat it. But there was like a group of boys that hovered around us. So there was like, no, can I have? Can I have? And I was like, all you want. So I gave them my mayo dog.
Your stuffed Vienna sausages, basically.
Yeah.
So my kids want to go to Japan.
Because they've watched anime.
Yes. And so Lincoln wants to go, as far as I understand, because of like tech and stuff. And Nike wants to go because she believes that she loves the Japanese culture based on anime and stuff. And just she's very, like, just all things Japanese she's excited about. And my biggest fear is we're going to be there for a week and my kids will die.
Because they won't eat?
Not eating anything.
Here's the good news is they also have like lots of American style foods. Other than the mayo dog, I loved everything I ate. One of my most memorable, and we went to this like sea zoo where we got to see like these huge aquariums and all this kind of stuff, but also like around the area they had like stalls and the activities you can do. It was like a state fair sort of style, or like a farmer's market style. I don't know. It was like more established because it was permanent, I guess. But there was one right off the dock, and you could pay for a little like pole that had a string that would break after so long, and you just go in and you fish out as many fish as you can. And they're like live fish. They like stock the little area, and you pull out the fish and then you bring it over and they like cut it, clean it, batter it, cook it, and you eat it immediately. And it was so good. Like I can't even explain. It was so fresh. The ingredients were so good. It was so simple. I was like, the pure essence of flavor. Like, it was amazing.
I feel like that's kind of like going to a zoo, and then they're like, and while you're here, try our zebra burgers.
A little bit. And I would have eaten it if I could have caught my own zebra and then eaten it. So anyways, there we go.
While we're doing tangents.
Oh my gosh, guys.
Okay, never mind.
Do your
That
tangent.
was I want to get out of here. Oh my gosh, and we haven't even started.
We are 33 minutes in.
Oh man.
You shouldn't put me over here by the clock.
No.
Otherwise, I don't know.
This stresses you.
What's it about?
It's horse eating related.
Okay, let's hear it.
I feel like you can't not tell us now.
Let's go.
Have you eaten horse?
On your mission, I'm assuming?
Yeah, so in France, horse is
So you went to a
an
derby,
acceptable-
and they were like, the losers, they're like, barbecue time.
yeah. So horse is a food or a meat that is eaten in France, right? So you can go to like the butcher and you can buy a horse.
That's insane.
Or whatever.
Is it?
Not really.
Like, it's just like a long neck cow, basically.
Well, so
The horses are so offended.
I don't know. It definitely it's just different culturally, right? We view horses as beautiful, right? It's part of the romance
Of the Western.
yeah.
Yeah.
You know, like the knight in shining armor is not riding a cow. He is riding a horse, a beautiful horse that probably the woman is more interested in meeting the horse than the man.
That's probably true.
It's true.
I can confirm.
How was the horse when you ate it, though?
Do you want to skip right to that, huh?
Yeah, I want to know if it
No,
tasted
I'm
like
telling my
cow.
story my way.
All right.
He's like, back when I was a child.
So, anyway, this idea intrigued me of like what's a horse like, and
The forbidden fruit.
anyway, so
You'd seen so many of them at Grandpa's ranch.
Yeah.
And every time you were like, but what does it taste like?
I can't.
this show horse.
I can admit I never once thought that. Anyways.
In my defense, I never thought about what a horse might taste like until it was an option.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Anyway, so eventually where was I? I think I was in Nîmes, which has a like coliseum, a little coliseum in it where they actually do bullfights.
Wow.
Yeah. And there was a little kebab shop, and kebabs in France are not meat on a stick. It's a like sandwich, like a Turkish sandwich.
Really?
Uh-huh.
That's funny.
So they it's meat and fries and sauce and stuff in a baguette, essentially.
Sounds
And they
amazing.
had I was looking at the menu, and they had these different kebabs, and one was au cheval, which means
Horse?
a horse, right? And I was like, I'm doing it, guys.
Do it.
Yeah.
I'm so excited.
And so I ordered it and I ate it. And the weird thing was that not only it had the regular ingredients, but it also had like an over easy egg in it. And that was interesting or whatever.
The interesting part of it.
Yeah. And I was like, okay, I've done it. I've eaten a horse. And it was fine. It didn't really feel all that different or whatever. And I went on with my life.
But now you, every now and again, will neigh.
Yeah. Then I learned, you know how if you have apple pie a la mode, it means apple pie with ice cream?
So does horse style just mean it's
With an
beef
egg?
with an egg?
With an egg. Yeah. So I was so mad about that I went to the butcher and bought horse.
Thought you were going to go back and complain. This is false advertising.
Which we cooked. And
Did
I
you
was
buy
just
a
like,
steak or some ground
just ground
horse?
beef. Yeah.
No,
ground
it's
horse.
not called ground beef,
Yes.
my friend.
Ground cheval.
Anyway, it was
Cheval?
meat.
Yeah.
Yeah, cheval.
Tasted similar to beef.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Like, why don't we eat horses?
Because we
yeah.
romanticize them.
But, like, there's no, other than that, there's no, I'm curious if they'd be more expensive than cows per pound of meat or whatever.
I mean, they're definitely more a higher value item.
Well, no, I mean, like, if you took the amount it costs to feed it, does it produce less poundage of sellable meat in a horse versus probably because horses are all leg.
Yeah.
And that's not, you don't eat cow legs.
So, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, we don't eat horses. We just turn them into glue.
And arts and crimes have come full circle. Interesting. Well, there's things I don't like about that. So let's get started. Wait, did you have anything else you wanted to say?
Did you just have like a hamburger?
Yeah. Just cooked essentially a hamburger patty of horse meat.
Okay, interesting.
And I was like,
yeah,
tastes like
fine.
meat.
Without a fried egg and all.
Yep.
Yeah. It was so upsetting.
And then you just marched into the butcher and you were like, give me the horse. And then they gave it to you and you were like, this is from a real horse, right? This isn't just marketing. And the guy's like, yes, from a horse. You were like from the animal that goes, nay. And you were like, that's the one. What do horses say in French?
Oh man, I don't know. Ask me a different animal.
Dog.
Oaf, oaf.
Oaf, oaf. What about a snake?
I think they just go.
What about
A monkey.
I don't know all of these like
Chicken. A rooster.
Cocorico.
Oh, that's a good one.
Oh, cocorico. All right, hold on.
Are you looking up what a horse says in French?
What sound does a horse make in French?
They're like, horses don't speak human language.
That's true. Horses don't use human
No.
language.
That is the question. What is the phonetic sound that French people use to represent the sound that a horse makes?
I understand now. French people often use he or he to represent the sound a horse makes. Does that clarify?
Yes.
So all
So
the
the
horses
horse
are
is
laughing.
All right, well, this has been our best episode so far.
Let's end it here. We'll finish up on part 3. Okay, so last time we talked about the Emperor Qin Shi Huangdi, which I just need to clarify because I don't think I remembered to say this last time, but I just want to say in the documents, the books, all of the series that are educational, what are those called? Documentaries.
Mm-hmm.
He's referred to both as Qin Shi Huangdi and also Qin Shi Huang. I don't know why they dropped the D there, but sometimes it is there and sometimes it's not. So I just wanted to say that if there's people listening that are like, it's just Qin Shi Huang, but it's also Qin Shi Huangdi, and I just like the flow of it with the D at the end better.
Oh, okay.
That's all. Anyways, so last time we covered how he conquered China, and he did all those great things like standardizing currency, weights, the width of cart wheels so that they would all fit in the trucks, right? Also building the Great Wall of China, which, just as a quick note, maybe I'm the only one that thought this, but I was imagining him like, hey, you know what would be great? A wall all over China. We should do that. But he actually just connected forts that already existed. So it was more like the Great Connection that he did. Because a lot of it was already built.
The Great Elevated Road of China.
Yeah, something. Anyways, I mean, it was definitely like an intense. There's like bones within it because people died. Blah blah blah. It's a big thing. But I did want to note that a lot of the structure was already pre-existing.
There's bones in it.
Yeah, because people died, and so they just like
They were just like, just leave them.
just leave me here.
Organic mortar.
Yeah. So anyways, but as we kind of ended last time, this leads into the big thing that he was consumed with during his years as the emperor, which was death. So his quest for immortality really came from this huge fear of death, this immense fear of death. Which actually, this kind of seed of the idea of immortality is something that may have been planted by his like father and kings before him. Because there are histories and stories and like evidences that they had that proved that people could be immortal or become immortal. And that they were just like, it was a hard to find thing. It seemed like all of the things that he did sort of branched from this fear of death towards the end of his life. And so he did things like building the Great Wall of China, and he also, like, in his palaces and in his homes, he built hidden passageways, and he covered pathways so that nobody could see him, both living and supernatural, so like spirits couldn't see him. And he covered all the windows, and if a servant even said his location, so if like a magistrate was like, hey, where's the emperor, I need to bring him this, and the servant said he's in here, that servant would be killed. So nobody was allowed to whisper what his location was.
Was he afraid of assassins, or?
I think that because it talks a lot about that he was afraid of assassins, he was afraid of conspiracies, he was afraid of betrayal and disloyalty, and like all of those things happening. And
didn't we learn in the last episode that he was kind of the best at all that stuff?
Yeah, and I imagine that he probably feared those things because he knew
utilized them so effectively.
The effectiveness of the tool, yeah. So in addition to like safeguarding himself as best as he could, he instigated sort of like Arthurian style quests that he sent people on. So he sent in various ways, right? So he sent out missives to all of his scholars to search for recipes for the elixir of immortality. And they actually found a bunch of slips, are what they called, but they're those long strips of like either bamboo or wood that they would write on and then tethered together so you could like roll them, or they could be read as an individual slip. Because this was before paper. Mm-hmm. And so they found a bunch of wooden slips that they that scholars were studying, and found that he had requested that people find these elixirs of immortality from all of these scholars. And some of these slips were the responses from these scholars all over China. And some of them apparently were like a little sassy about it. And others were like, well, we don't have anything yet, but you should try this other place. Maybe they have something. Or like, try this herb from this other place and see what they say. So, within China, that wasn't going super great. And he also grew up hearing stories about places that had rare and hard to find plants or ingredients that could possibly do what he was looking for. So, Qin Shi Huangdi was a member of a ruling family that, as I said before, had already been searching out immortality. And so he was very willing to believe these tales. So there was a centuries-old legend about 3 spirit mountains in the Bohai Sea where fairies possessed the elixir of immortality lived. but it was really hard to get there. So there's a historian or a writer that wrote he wrote treatises on the Feng and Shang sacrifices, that although the three mountains were close to land, once a boat arrived, they would appear upside down in the water, and when mariners drew close, the wind would push their boat out to sea. He also cites earlier rulers among those who sent men to the sea for past elixirs. So the three mountains were known as Peng Lai, Feng Shang, and Ying Zhao. When the first emperor arrived for the first time at the coast, he was greeted by like a horde of magicians that told him these stories about the elixir. And later there's a work of mythology of islands that usually are attributed to the Han Dynasty, which is right after the Qin Dynasty. And formally in Qin Shang, and this is when it was written, because a lot of stuff about Qin Shi Huangdi is written after he's gone. So in Qin Shi Huangdi's time, the bodies of many men unrighteously and untimely killed were lying about at Feng Hana and along the roads. Birds resembling crows or ravens appeared carrying this plant that they had gotten from these unreachable mountains in their bills and placed it on the faces of those corpses so that they immediately sat up and were restored to life. Moreover, it is said that the plant can be eaten and can confer longevity and even immortality. So on hearing these stories and being informed of the capabilities of this herb of deathlessness and learning that a single stalk could bring a man back from the dead, the emperor ordered that samples be brought to his court. So in an effort to obtain these plants, he sent on an expedition Zifu with 500 men and women to obtain it. Surprisingly, they were unsuccessful and never heard from again.
Sifu?
Zifu, I think is his name. Xufu. Oh, maybe I'm saying it wrong. Is Xu pronounced C?
I have no idea how
Shu?
you spell.
Shufu?
Shufu?
Shufu. I kind of like how that one sounds. Look that up really quick.
Look up what?
How to pronounce Xufu.
Nope, just you gotta guess it.
Xufu.
I like Shufu.
Shufu.
Hey. All right, Googly. What do you got for me? Shufu.
Shufu? I was wrong on both accounts.
Shufu?
Just fix
Shufu.
it.
That's what we said. Shufu.
Oh. I said Sifu. My bad. So it's Shufu.
Oh, so I was right.
You were correct. I was
you
wrong.
were wrong.
Yeah.
Yes, your joking
Not
response.
the first time.
Shufu.
Shufu.
Let's see.
All right, back to the beginning.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, just
I'm
go-
just gonna continue. I'll fix it. It'll be fine.
Afterwards, it's gonna be edited.
The beginning
Every time
is
you
like
say Shifu, you go.
I go
Shufu.
Shufu. No, I'll just take and repeat the one where I go Shufu.
Shufu?
Shufu. Anyways, so later scholars that are looking into these stories and how they're described, they're on all accounts and interest, basically we can consider this plant that they were talking about a type of magic mushroom. Granting
It brought me
immortality.
back to life.
Wake me up inside.
No.
Right. So basically, it was magic mushrooms that they were finding, but this is essentially proof, because these stories are recounting back to hey, Qin Shi Huangdi did this, but so many other rulers and emperors after him did that. So it's something that seems to be a consistent search by these rulers of China and other rulers.
Continuing to this very day, it turns out. That was smooth.
Thank you.
Okay, so I was looking this up because this happened a while ago. Hold on, let me look. It was not super long ago, September 2025. Xi, the current leader of China, and Putin, the current leader of Russia, were at a parade with, I think, the leader of North Korea. Anyway, a hot mic caught Xi and Putin talking about immortality. And Putin was saying, it started with Xi saying, I mean, yeah, we can live for a lot longer. Like, it used to be rare for somebody to live past 70, and now it's like super common.
Mm-hmm.
And Putin goes, yeah, I think like with our guys working on, biotechnology and organ transplant, we can essentially live forever and be immortal if you just keep replacing the organs.
Woof.
And I think she was like, I don't know about that, but they tell me maybe I can live to be 150 or something. Which reminds me of a certain movie.
Which movie?
There's a movie where rich people have an island.
Oh, The
where
Island.
the clones.
Oh, yeah. No, that's not the movie. I was thinking of Talladega Nights, The Ballad of Ricky Bobby.
He's like, there's no reason I can't live to be.
Someone with my high level income could be 200, 250 easy. Anyway, so yeah, it's wild that like...
It's still being sought.
Yeah. Leaders, people of means are always end up going like, but I mean, why should I have to die?
Yeah.
Just like a stupid poor person. We talked about this last time.
Yeah.
But it's funny that like...
It's so consistent.
Such a thing, man.
For thousands and thousands of years.
Yes.
Yeah.
Continue.
Also, another recent development from 2025 is they found proof of another expedition that he had sent to, it was on the Tibetan plateau near the Gyaring Lake. And it shows that an additional Immortality expedition was sent there for ingredients. It records that Level 5 Grandmaster Yi, a high-ranking official, was commanded to lead a caravan of alchemists to the Qinlun Mountains in search of Yao. This is likely referring to an herb or mineral that could be interpreted as the elixir of life. So in Chinese mythology, the Kunlun Mountains represented the cosmic axis, or a bridge between heaven and earth, and was home to immortals, particularly the Queen Mother of the West. And according to the inscription, the caravan had reached Gyaring Lake, but still had 40 more miles to go before arriving at Kunlun. There's no record of them after that, so I don't think they made it.
Or they did make it, and they found it, and they were like, let's save this elixir for ourselves. And they're still out there.
And they're the ones guarding the mountain.
Yeah.
That's why no one else has found it.
I think...
Mystery solved.
Yeah, we did it.
So they led a caravan of alchemists.
Mm-hmm.
And I heard that and I was thinking, is there any profession today where 100, 200 years from now, people will look back and be like, those guys were snake oil salesmen and they didn't even know it? Like...
You know what's funny is I had this I think I wrote a blog post about this, about alchemists specifically.
Oh, yes.
Because alchemists are the precursors of scientists. Like a lot of modern science traces its roots back to alchemy. So like we look down on alchemists, but it's like they're the ones that kind of eventually produce the scientific.
Those idiots paved the way.
Yeah.
A lot of times. Yeah.
And I think the thing is, we don't even have to look back far, right?
Because your literal example is snake oil salesman.
Well, like
But the snake oil salesman knows he's a liar.
Yeah.
And the difference is the alchemists really believed that they were onto something.
Okay. There is a really good video called Line Goes Up about crypto and crypto bros and stuff. It's by a Canadian YouTuber. But like, there are some people who literally believed that they had found a quote unquote infinite money glitch. And they were like, yeah, Bitcoin's going to be worth $1 million, $2 million a piece. And we're just going to have all the money in the world. And so there were these people that started a fund that, I think it's called Arrow Capital or whatever. I don't remember, but when it collapsed, it did massive damage to the crypto industry. But basically they released a thing talking about how they'd found this way to produce unlimited money. There was no way they were going to, they believed it, right? They thought for sure, oh yeah, we're going to utterly change the entire world with crypto and it's going to be in our company. And it was not true at all. And but the thing is they're still believers, right? Mm-hmm. They're still believers to a greater or lesser extent in crypto. But crypto, I think is it's kind of the same as alchemy. Where alchemy was based on chemical reactions. They would go, this is weird. Why does this happen? And then they would, in their mind, expand it and go, well, if I can turn this into this, clearly I can turn lead into gold, right?
Right.
And crypto is kind of the same thing, where like, oh, it's a neat technology. And some people are like, neat, we can use it for some stuff. And some people go, we can turn lead into gold with this friggin' cryptology or crypto stuff, you know? So that kind of thing happens constantly.
That's nuts.
That's a good example.
So,
Thank
done.
you. Thank you.
5 stars. And we'll end it there. Just kidding. So with the expeditions clearly not working, he brought in alchemists and magicians that could kind of help him brew what he hoped would be an effective immortality elixir, at least until he could find something else, something that would grant him longer life.
And he poured in a storm. He's like, listen, I'll take your cut rate.
Yeah.
Cut rate
Elixir.
immortality until I can find some real immortality.
Yeah, if I can live long enough. And there are 2 things in China that at the time people knew were sacred and that were highly connected to immortality and elixirs. The first being jade, which I think is pretty commonplace, as we still know it today as a very precious stone. It's often used in highly valued art and jewelry, but in ancient times it was commonplace to be an ingredient that they would consume, especially like emperors and high-ranking people. The second ingredient, can you guys guess? Do you know?
Arsenic.
I don't know.
Mercury.
Oh, I was close.
You were close.
Pretty
Mercury was commonly called the immortal elixir, or their version of a philosopher's stone. So his alchemists prescribed for him to consume mercury to help him be immortal. So the results of him consuming mercury caused mental instability, paranoia, hallucinations, and physical deterioration. And so he's actively killing himself with his elixir of immortality.
And they're like, listen, turning immortal has some side effects, okay? You're going to feel a little weird. It's all part of the process.
All part of the plan. So while this is all going on, he's sending out expeditions and he's consuming mercury and stuff. And his paranoia is continuing to grow, but he is also, he's like not a man to leave things up to chance. So he commissioned the most insane burial complex anybody has ever heard of, which is where the terracotta soldiers finally come into play. So he believed that if he died, he could take the burial stuff with him. At the very least, he would be protected in the afterlife. But really quick, I just want to give you a quick sum up of the end of his life, and then we'll talk about his burial tomb. So he commissioned this tomb, and they were working on it. And then obviously, the elixir that was meant to keep him alive caused his death. And during a summer tour, he died while traveling. And then Zhao Gai and Li Si concealed his death for 2 months. They carried around his carriage and they filled it with fish to cover the scent of his decay.
It's not death smell.
It's
Fish.
he loves those fish, man. He likes them when they got a little bit of a stank on them,
Yeah.
you know.
That's literally, do you know what I think of? Probably not you guys, but they're in Korea. There was a serial killer that would put kimchi in the garbage bags that he was putting body parts in to hide the scent. So interesting.
More.
Fun fact there.
Do you
Anyways,
think he was inspired? Okay, so this was around 200 BCE, right?
yeah.
Do you think he was inspired by Egyptians? Like, did he send... Obviously, he's sending people everywhere. Did he send some people over to Egypt and they were like, well, they said they figured it out and you have to make a giant triangle thing.
So
and he was like,
his burial plot is older than the Valley of the Kings, I think.
Is it really?
I
Well,
think
it says
so.
200 BC, right?
So he started his burial mound when he became ruler, and he ruled until till 210 BC.
Yeah, the pyramids are definitely older than that.
Are they?
It's. I wonder.
Yeah,
It's-
2700 BC.
Oh, so they are. I forget the time goes backwards
Yeah.
in BC. So yeah, then yes. I don't know. But his is not a triangle.
But in your
No.
research, you didn't find anything.
There was no
like-
reference to any Egyptian anything.
Huh.
Yeah.
Interesting that, like, I wonder what he thought the afterlife was going to be like. Because whatever it was, he expected the afterlife to be. It was not good enough to want to go there.
Yeah.
He wanted to stay on Earth and live forever in his current situation.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not really sure. But it didn't bring up anything about Egypt stuff, which is interesting because I think they also have like a lot of similar
Yeah, there are some similar philosophies.
Yeah.
Yeah. You get to take what you're buried with.
Yeah,
maybe
that
it's
kind of
just a
stuff.
case of convergent evolution and thought.
Yeah. Maybe. Yeah, I'm not sure. But so they concealed it for 2 months, and the reason they did that is because they wanted to manipulate the succession and create a false new will to name the youngest son of the emperor Hu Hai as the heir, instead of
Who?
Who
Hu
hi?
Hai.
Who's high?
Nobody's high.
Hi who? What? Who? Why?
So included.
Cut that out.
Oh, she will.
I thought you guys were going to be a little more game for that. And you immediately were like, who high is his name, you idiot?
I didn't know where to go with it.
My kids would have killed. They would have loved that.
In my head, I was like, he could do this for 40 minutes if we play along.
And I have.
Yeah.
With my children.
That's true. Within this new will, it also demanded that the elder son Fusu and the general Meng Tian had to commit suicide.
Can you just put that in wills?
Yeah, apparently.
Because I'm going to ask some weird random people in my will. I'll be like, also, so-and-so
You
from
now
New
need to be a
York.
baker
Yes.
instead of whatever you are.
Yeah.
Yeah, it got crazy. Though there are some studies or like some theories that say that he didn't actually commit suicide. He was murdered. And
Who?
not Hu Hai.
Oh, good one. Him.
Fusu.
Fusu, the eldest
The
son.
eldest son and the general.
Shufu?
Yeah. No, Shufu was the immortal storyteller.
Okay, so I mean, either way, he ended up dead. But I
Yeah.
love the idea of them bringing the will to him and being like, also here it says you have to kill yourself. And he's like, no. And they're like, fine, we'll do it for you.
It's happening one way or the other, buddy.
Yeah.
King's orders.
Yeah. I'm the new king. Not if you're dead.
Not
And
now.
According to this will, you should be dead. They're like a delivery person who's like, listen, I you
Don't
gotta
kill
bring
the
it up with
messenger.
doctor, okay, I'm just here to either watch you kill yourself or to kill you.
Yeah, so that happened, and Hu Hai then was named Qin Shi, and he was basically just a puppet of Zhao Gai, but things fell apart incredibly rapidly because he was not a strong leader by any means, and he died having ruled only from 210 to 207 BC, and then he had a successor, Zi Ying. And he held the throne for 1 year before he was defeated, and that is the end of the Qin Dynasty. So the emperor died in 210. His youngest son usurped the throne and ruled till 207, and then his successor only ruled for 1 more year, and then the Qin Dynasty ended. And it went on to the Han Dynasty.
Are we gonna talk about the Terracotta Warriors?
Yeah.
No, that's the end of it. She was like, and now he's
And now
dead.
they died.
Qin Dynasty is done.
Yeah. So here's how I decided to go about it. Is literally while I was reading this, I was like, this is kind of what happened, because people just sort of forgot it. And as I was writing, I was like, much that once was lost, and none now live who remember it. And some things that should not have been forgotten were lost. History became legend, legend became myth. And for literally 1,000 years, nobody said anything about this tomb complex that the emperor was in until it is briefly described by a historian 1,000 years later. So most information about the Qin army, about all of their stuff, like how they arranged battles, how they like dressed, all of that stuff was lost to history because it was not kept. Most of the information that Qin Shi Huangdi didn't want kept by the other leaders so that people couldn't rally against him was all destroyed. And so most of it was lost with him, with the end of his empire. And there's not a single mention of the Terracotta warriors in any historical document ever. The only mention of his tomb is that there was a small note, it's like a paragraph, that says that the tomb had celestial ceilings with stars and zodiac signs, constellations represented above. And then there was a complex to represent the earthly kingdom that the emperor himself, ruled. And then the emperor was said to be entombed in a bronze coffin in the center of it all. And then the surrounding earthen features also had lakes and rivers, which were represented by hundreds of liquid quantities. I don't know.
Gallons
of mercury. Yeah, gallons of mercury.
Yeah.
Which they do believe is accurate because when they test the soil in that area, it shows very high quantities of mercury contamination. And so we're going to skip to the future a little bit, go back to the future to see sort of how...
Marty, we gotta go back to the future. What is that voice? Do your best Doc Brown voice.
It was a really good Doc Brown. So, after he dies, it's all basically forgotten. Like, where the tomb is, where everything is, which is insane because remember, it's roughly the size of Manhattan. And it's completely forgotten about.
China's a real big country, though.
It is, but that's insane to me.
It is pretty crazy.
But in 1974, there were some farmers that were digging wells on their land because at the time there was a drought. And as they dug down, they found that they found like the rim, what they thought was the rim of a terracotta pot and some bronze artifacts. And so they continued digging and they kept taking like cartloads of broken terracotta. And as they continued, they found what looked like the body of a statue. And so they stopped because they were afraid that they maybe had found a grave. And they were like, oh no, if we disturb this grave, the government will be really mad at us. And so they brought in specialists and archaeologists and they started digging. And what eventually they found were pits that were full of these smashed and broken terracotta warriors, horses, and chariots in this first thing. So naturally, they began excavating and just found this mind-blowing complex. So I'm going to read to you generally what they found in these pits. So there's 3 main pits that the terracotta terracotta warriors were found in. So pit 1, which is the largest of the 3, is over 152,000 square feet, and it has an estimated 6,000 terracotta figures. 200 horses, 50 chariots, and earthen walls divide these rectangular areas into 11 passages containing terracotta representations of the infantrymen, officers, chariots, horses, charioteers, and generals and scholars. And they believe but the figures are arranged to simulate the traditional Qin battle formation. In pit 2, there is an L-shape, which is L-shaped, and it covers more than 65,000 square feet, and it has nearly 1,000 figures with 450 horses and 89 chariots. And the majority of the figures found in pit 2 are regarded as the army barracks, and it has cavalrymen. Dang it, Rochelle just texted me. Cavalrymen, horses, and archers. There are also chariots and infantrymen and officers. And then pit 3, which is the smallest of the 3 and seems to act as the army's command headquarters. It's U-shaped and it has 4 horses, 1 chariot, and 68 figures, mostly infantry and high-ranking officers. And in archaeology surveys conducted between pits 2 and 3, A partially built fourth pit was found, but they surmised that it was abandoned during construction. It may have been abandoned after he died. Throughout the tomb, there are also figures of artisans, artists, performers. They found pottery, jewelry, brass bells. There was pottery making tools, which one of the tools I was looking through, I bought a book that has like images of a bunch of stuff they found. And one of the tools looks like one of the tools that I used while I was in Korea to make those ongi jars, like during the sudaejil part, like where you have to hit on one side and you have the little tool on the inside. It looked just like that. And I thought that was really interesting. Let's see. There's clay seal stamps that sealed different slips. So we had like a bunch of writing stuff. Additionally, so there's just a ton of different things. It goes on and on. Additionally, what they found, because the way that this tomb is sort of designated is they have the inner city, the outer city, and then beyond the outer city. And so the inner city is believed to be where the emperor is buried and has the rivers of mercury and all of that kind of stuff.
And they haven't opened the inner city, right?
Yeah, no, they have not.
Which is so wild to me.
Yeah. It's crazy because they haven't stopped excavating this whole time, and they're still discovering new things, among which were other tombs of other people around, like in the outer city and beyond the outer city, including like scholars and generals. And they found one area that they believe was all of his concubines that they buried, when he died, they killed them and buried them. Because he obviously needed to take all those people with him when he died.
Sure.
And they're still excavating things slowly, but they're trying to do it safely, and that's why it's taken so long. So that they don't destroy the artifacts that they're pulling from it. Like some of the bamboo slips that they find have to stay submerged in water or they'll degrade. So they're trying to make sure that they find things and can like maintain them as long and safely as possible.
It just shows a level of restraint that's pretty uncommon, I feel like.
Yeah. I was like, if that was in America, we would have been in it immediately.
Well, like think of like King Tut's tomb, remember?
Yeah, that's true.
How they were just like, get in here, dig in. Now start grabbing stuff with your bare hands. Like,
yeah,
you know?
That's true. Oh, yeah. And there is written, I forgot that this was also written in there. There are booby traps in his area.
Are there really?
Yeah. So there's listed that there are booby traps. And so they also, I'm sure it's not a situation where it's like in National Treasure where they walk down there and they all still work because it's been centuries. Millennia. I imagine that they don't function still, but I mean,
better safe than sorry.
You don't want to go in there, willy-nilly.
Well, honestly, like I imagine what they're more worried about is the booby trap damaging the artifacts.
Yes.
They're like, we can send people down. We got lots of people.
Yeah. We're not worried about that.
But there's only one tomb of the emperor.
Yeah. Exactly. So,
it's so interesting. Like, okay, so again, it's interesting kind of the cultural differences because talking about the farmers, right?
Yeah.
Like if farmers in the US had dug and found something, they probably wouldn't have been like, oh crap, I'm going to screw something up and get in trouble. They would be like,
we're going to make money.
Yeah, I'm going to start charging people for this. Yeah. I'm going to dig it myself and no one can take it from me because it's on my land, right?
Yeah.
And I feel like it's kind of the same thing with the scholars where they're so concerned about making a mistake. And that's not the attitude that we have.
Yeah.
Like the attitude in the West is like, you got to get on it. You got to take it.
You got to be first.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the attitude that they're taking is like, we do not want to screw this up no matter what.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. It's kind of indicative of the cultural differences there, I feel like.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So there's so much. I want you to know I skipped out on so much. This is something that we could do 4 episodes on and I would still have so much information. But I like talking about how they are finding out who the people are that are in the tombs and guessing who they might be and removing their coffins and stuff, sarcophagi. I don't know what they're called. But I wanted to get to what to me was the main draw and what has always interested me since I was a kid.
Is it the ceramics?
Yeah, the soldiers, obviously.
Oh, shocker.
I know, the terracotta soldiers. So, I want to talk a little bit about how the soldiers themselves were crafted,
Okay.
and then how that could have been accomplished. So the soldiers themselves, again, they're made from clay, and that clay is local harvested clay. So it's in the area they were harvesting the clay, and then they also built enormous kilns in that area to fire the clay. And so the kilns were, you could walk in them because the soldiers were life size, and on some occasions bigger. And all of the soldiers had to be life size because they were also all armed with fully functional, brand new made weaponry. So
Like real weapons.
real weapons.
Not terracotta weapons.
Correct. Not terracotta weapons. Which they did some, like a bunch of research on these weapons they found. Some of them were still sharp when they found them. And they were bronze, and the craftsmanship is immaculate. And I'll talk a little bit about the like constraints that they had on the craftsmen for like quality assurance. But they had to be fully like proportionate and life size as a minimum because they were expected to be equipped with these functional battle ready armaments. So how they did it is they had a variety of molds that they would then coil the clay into to create the different components. So there's molds for the legs, the arms, the body, the head, hands, all that kind of stuff. And they then after they would mold each piece, they would go through and individualize it by having different eye shapes, different face, different hair, like facial hair, different hairdos. They had different ears, all that kind of stuff. And then after they were fired, they were all painted. When we imagine the terracotta soldiers, we imagine what we have pictures of, which is of them just of that terracotta, that like raw terracotta, or burned, because quite a few of them have burn damage or like fire damage. So they think that maybe after the Qin Dynasty was overthrown, there was some damage done to these terracotta soldiers. Because much like in Egypt, if you like damage or deface something, that king doesn't get to take it with him. So a lot of these were like buried and damaged, so they're having to repair them. And a lot of them show fire damage, which they're fine, but they're burned and the paint would have been removed. So each soldier was brightly painted with like pinks and white hues on the skin. And then their armor and clothes show bright like blues and greens and reds and purples. So they would have been this very like...
So all that's just faded.
Yeah, it's all so, and that's part of why they're being so careful, because if they're careful in their extraction, some of the ones that are buried do still show some of that lacquered pigments, and that's how they know that they were painted, because they've been able to sort of like piece together based on what they've found. But for the most part, the paint, the lacquer, and the color has all been faded and removed. Also, each warrior weighed over 400 pounds. Like, just this immense thing that they crafted. And they made over 8,000 of them. And so, in an effort to see how individual these warriors actually were, because of, like, first glance they look individual, but they're like, how individual are they actually? Because that's an enormous feat of construction. They 3D mapped models of the ones that they had. So they basically took a bunch of pictures, stitched them together, created 3D digital models that they could then isolate aspects of the soldiers. And the example they showed on some of the documentaries I watched, and one of the ones that they did, was that they isolated the ears of the soldiers, because no two people have the same ears. And they found that every single soldier had different ears. No two soldiers had the same ears. So they were all individualized, which is insane, the amount of time that must have taken. And again, each warrior had his full armor, his armaments, and all that kind of stuff. So obviously there had to be skilled craftsmen and artisans that were in high demand, because the emperor demanded perfection. And so what he did, and he also needed labor. He needed an immense amount of people to be doing this. So he forced a huge amount of slave labor, criminals, captives, and anyone that he could find any kind of excuse to force into this labor, either working on his tomb complex or things like the Great Wall or anything like that.
It feels like, but the Terracotta Army is highly skilled.
Yeah.
Like, it's really well done.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think you could force somebody to become an amazing master.
No, but they did need
ceramicist.
people to harvest the clay, to fire, to like maintain the kilns, to refine the clay.
So they probably had like a handful of I mean more than a handful, but
yeah,
a population of actual master artists.
yes,
And then they were like, and also all these criminals are here to dig clay
for you. Yeah, basically. So he had a system where they called it legalism, where basically everybody informed on everybody else, because the like houses or towns or sections were turned into units, and if somebody was caught doing something illegal and you didn't tell on them, then your entire unit would be punished. So either he would get an entire unit or town of people because they didn't inform on each other, or people were informing on each other and he was getting people that way.
Yeah.
And that was super common. So for each, and this was for anything that took any kind of craftsmanship. So the weaponry has this, the terracotta soldiers has this, where the head craftsman would sign it. And then these head craftsmen were over a team. So it'd be like 40 head craftsmen, and each one had like 50 artisans under him. And then those 50 artisans would have people underneath them. And the list of names would be listed on each soldier and is etched into the weapons, so that if there were any imperfections found, they would then be punished and potentially killed.
I thought it would be like, oh, so people would know who did it. No,
it was to track. Yeah, it was to track if there was any problems with it.
For sure.
And so with this immense like force that he amassed, he was able to create this absolutely insane, breathtaking warrior of terracotta, like army of terracotta. But it kind of all fell apart after he died, and we're still learning so much about it. And most of what we know about their military, about how they sharpened weapons, about the type of armor they wore, the colors that they may have wore, we've learned just so much about the Qin army and how they functioned just from this burial tomb, because most of the writings and stuff wasn't kept. So hopefully as they continue to excavate, we can figure out who all the people are that are buried around him. And then, like you said, maybe one day it would be so cool to be alive when they get into the actual burial mound.
Is there a projected time when they will?
Nope.
They take their time.
Yeah, they take their time. But that is the Terracotta Warriors.
Fun.
It's interesting that his penchant for secrecy almost made him
obliterated from history.
Mm-hmm. So he was all about immortality. And I guess ultimately he did achieve it through the Terracotta Army, but almost didn't.
Yeah.
Okay. I was trying to find pictures of Terracotta Army, like the guys, the colorized.
Oh.
I was like...
And I got this book for you.
But you know what's funny is it in the article that I found that had some of the pictures, it was like, oh yeah, they had all these vibrant colors, and one of us listed is called China Purple.
Mm-hmm.
Did you learn about this?
I didn't bother reading about it.
It is a artificial colorant, so it's not a natural dye,
mm-hmm.
that they lost the ability to make it after this. So this specific type of purple, which uses this very specific chemical process to produce this dye that is difficult to make to this day still, because it's really complicated, they mastered all the way back then and for the Terracotta Army, and then they just killed everybody that knew how to do it or whatever, and lost it. And yeah, they couldn't reproduce it for thousands of years.
Yeah. You know what's really interesting is, especially with ceramics, that happens a ton, because they're very secretive about their like ingredients and recipes and glazes and that kind of stuff. And then, so they don't share it and they don't give it to anybody, and then they die and nobody knows how to reproduce it. It is super common for that to happen.
Yeah. It's kind of like, what are those violins? Stradivarius.
Oh.
That like they every once in a while they'll take a tiny sliver of one and put it through all this chemical analysis because they're like, we got to find out what lacquer they use to make it sound so good, and they still have it.
They
right?
can't, yeah.
So in my very small amount of research that I did, and for like 2 seconds on my phone, the terracotta figures are life-sized.
That's what I said, yeah.
Yes, typically ranging from 5'9" to 6'7", and I was like, who was that size in 200 BC?
Well, I mean,
So
they also had performers.
When I looked up what was the average height in 200 BC in China, it's like 5'3" to 5'6".
Yeah.
So life size.
Some
I
people
don't
were
think so.
they were getting a little added on. They slipped their terracotta artists a few dollars.
Yeah, a few dollars, yeah.
To stretch them out a little bit.
He wanted the best army. He was like, I need them to be well armed and very tall.
Yeah.
Yes, taller than these lame, regular, real life
I
people.
wonder if anybody was like, I want my terracotta soldier to look like David Bowie in The Labyrinth.
Not under all that armor, you can't see it.
It reminded me a lot of. I read a book called Memoirs by Andrei Sakharov. He was one of the guys that made the nuclear bomb. He did a lot of the research to help enable them to make a nuclear bomb. And he talked about in Soviet Russia, there were hidden cities and they would send criminals there to be the labor force for these like highly intense, like trying to make a nuclear bomb. And then when they were done with them, they just murdered everybody. They would tell them, oh yeah, you got to serve your time and then you'll be free. But he talks about how like they knew like they're not getting out of here.
Yeah.
Nobody's getting out of here.
Yeah.
It's so wild how these like authoritarian governments can create just a level of injustice, and like it's unbelievable to think that one person, like think of, what's his name? Emperor of China.
Qin Shi Huangdi.
Qin Shi Huangdi. How much suffering did one single person cause, right?
And he was known for it, for being incredibly brutal.
Yeah. And it's the same thing with like Stalin or Hitler. Like it's crazy how much suffering. And what's funny is that like one person, when you look at the amount of harm that one person can do, it's like a serial killer, right? Which you're very familiar with.
Yeah.
So probably maybe a few hundred people max, right?
Yeah.
But when you have one person with a bureaucracy behind them, they can do incalculably more damage, you know? It's wild.
It's nuts. It's nuts. It's just such like, it's just this thing. It's like when we talked about selling the arts and crimes pod for 40 million, and I'm like, I don't even know what 40 billion. I don't even know how to understand how to spend that much money.
Yeah.
And it's sort of the same thing. Like I don't even understand how to like exist within that much power.
Yeah.
It would be wild.
I mean, like really the amount of, okay, think of like Elon Musk, right? Bringing him back up again. And he personally didn't like U.S. aid, which was a government thing that provided financial aid and medicine and stuff to other countries, right? He personally didn't like it. And so he made this thing, Doge, right? And they went in and dismantled it before anybody could object or whatever, right? Yeah. And literally hundreds of thousands of people are dying because this thing no longer exists, right? Just because one wealthy guy personally didn't like it. Yeah.
It's so nuts. History, man. That's why it's so important to learn about history.
Yeah.
It's cyclical. Or what do you say?
Cyclical.
It's cyclical.
it doesn't repeat, but it rhymes.
Yeah. Anyways, I hope that was as fun for you guys. I really enjoyed researching it. And yeah, thanks for listening. So thanks for stopping by. Go do some art. Don't do any crimes. Especially if you are a very powerful person. The ability to. Bye.
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 Guess the snack's out of the bag now.
What?
The snack's out of the bag instead of the cat's out of the bag.
Yes.
I'm very funny.